Hey guys, Wells Knight here, and welcome to a recap video of Minecon Earth 2018. That happened on Saturday. I'm actually recording this just shortly thereafter, and there was a lot of stuff in the Minecon Earth live stream that wasn't really worth watching. It was like 2 hours of cringe and then about 30 minutes of actual interesting announcements and stuff like that. So I'm not going to focus on any of the stuff except for the actual announcements, and I'm only going to focus on Java Edition because that's what I play. But lots of good stuff to be announced, with one exception to that, and that is that Mojang has announced Minecraft Dungeons. It is a new standalone game, and they had a little bit of a trailer for it. So there you go, new standalone game, Minecraft Dungeons. It looks like it's a top-down dungeon crawler set in the Minecraft universe. They said in the trailer that it's coming to PC in 2019, and they also said that it's going to be the first of multiple titles, which will be separate kind of standalone games in the same blocky style. This one's going to be kind of in the, it's a dungeon crawler, so think like Diablo or anything along those lines. I'm actually really excited for that because I love dungeon crawlers and roguelikes and stuff like that. I play a lot of those on my second channel. So I'm interested to see how this fits the bill. And, you know, the more games, the merrier, I guess. But it's one of those kind of weird things where we'll have to see how it translates, because Minecraft is really a game about freedom. And what makes it so great is that the simplistic graphic style really kind of forces you to be creative. And I think that's what I enjoy so much about Minecraft. But when you take away that aspect of creativity, I don't know if it's going to be as good. So I guess we'll just have to wait for 2019 and find out. But with that said, let's jump into the actual Java Edition announcements that they're making. And there's going to be some really good stuff.
So the theme this time is going to be village and pillage.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So it's going to be called the Village and Pillage update, and it's going to be focusing primarily on villages and villagers is what it looks like. So all villages will now have biome-specific architecture and design, which is really cool. That means that desert villages will look like desert villages, and villages in the plains will have one sort of design style and all this other kind of stuff. And actually, it's kind of interesting. If you look at some of the screenshots of some of the frames they showed of the desert village, you may have noticed something kind of interesting. In those screenshots, we have sandstone walls, which are not a block that is currently in the game. There's also these smooth sandstone stairs, which is pretty cool. And it appears there's also like this smooth sandstone slab as well. Now, the smooth sandstone, I think technically it's called cut sandstone. But either way, that's a block that's currently in the game, although I don't believe there's actually a vanilla crafting recipe for it. So hopefully with the new update, we'll be able to not only craft that, but also craft slabs and stairs for it as well. And anytime we're getting new walls, that's amazing. Those are going to be the first new walls in the game that aren't cobblestone walls ever, outside of modded at least. So I'm really excited for that. I wish there were a lot more blocks that had walls, because it's a really good kind of shape to work with in building when it comes to adding detail and depth and all this other kind of stuff. Sometimes you want something that's fatter than a fence, but thinner than a full block, and walls kind of fit that bill. So I'm super excited for that. They also talked about updating the villagers. So villagers will now have biome and job-specific skins. So I don't know what the math is on that off the top of my head, but I believe there are 12 different types of villager, like job-wise. And then there are multiple different villages or biomes that villages can spawn in. And if each of those has unique skins, I think we're probably talking like 70, 80 different villager skins. They also mentioned briefly they might update the villager sounds. Maybe. We'll see. But the big thing about villagers is that they are going to be changing villager behavior. So villagers are now going to have daily schedules that determine where they go, what they do, and kind of like dictate their lives. So that's going to be really interesting to see how that interacts with existing systems that use villagers, like iron farms or things along those lines, or how that will work. I really don't know all the details of that. It's going to be interesting to see, though. I mean, maybe it will completely break iron farms. Who knows? They also mentioned they're going to be updating the trading system as well, which I think is good, because the trading system now does feel very kind of clunky. And it doesn't work all that well. So I'm excited to see updates to that and see what they come up with. Honestly, just a village and villager overhaul has been desperately needed for a very long time. Villagers and villages have not been very exciting. And considering they're one of the few things that you can go out and find and interact with in this game as far as exploration stuff, like I think when you first start playing Minecraft and you stumble across your first village, it's really cool and you're like, wow, this is awesome. And then it quickly loses its novelty, and from then on, when you run into a village, you just kind of loot whatever's there and leave, unless you need to go back and grab a couple villagers to breed and turn into a iron farm or something. So hopefully this update overhauls that whole system and really adds a bit more excitement to finding villages and interacting with villagers. On the note of that, they are adding a new hostile set of mobs to the game, and those are pillagers. So pillagers are essentially going to be raiding parties that will attack villages. And they have like this bull that is tentatively called the Illager Beast. They said the name is kind of a work in progress. But it's basically a giant bull that follows these raiding parties, and it destroys stuff. And the footage from that's actually pretty cool. Now, some of you may have noticed that the pillagers, as they're called, We're holding crossbows, and crossbows are going to be a new ranged weapon added to the game. They said it's not going to replace the bow, but it's a separate ranged option. It's going to be more powerful than the bow, and it will have longer range than the bow, but it will take longer to load. They also said it's going to have new unique enchantments, including fast load and triple shot, and then some other stuff as well that they haven't announced. It's going to be interesting for me to see how a crossbow with the fast load enchantment compares to a vanilla bow. Because if you take away that longer load time on a crossbow, or on a, if you take away that longer load time on a crossbow, and the crossbow is more powerful and has longer range than the regular bow already, I don't know, or unless fast load becomes an enchantment for the vanilla bow as well, which would be amazing. I would love to see new bow enchantments. That'd be pretty cool. So let's see how that all kind of shakes out. But they did say that the crossbow will be craftable, so you'll be able to obtain it infinitely in game. You won't have to go searching for it like you do the trident, and I think that's really good. Now they also have talked about cats, and they're saying that ocelots and cats are going to be split into their own unique separate mobs. So right now, the way it works is you find an ocelot in the jungle, you tame it, and it becomes a cat, and that cat will then be your pet. But they said they're going to do away with that. Ocelots are going to be their own thing. Cats are going to be their own thing. And the way that you will now obtain cats is you will find stray cats that will wander around villages, and you can tame them somehow there. They also said that going forward, phantoms are going to be scared of cats. So I don't know how that's going to work with phantoms being a flying mob. Maybe if you AFK and you have a cat next to you, phantoms won't attack you. I don't know how that's going to work. We'll have to see. But they also said cats are going to bring you gifts. They were very kind of shy about what those gifts were going to be. They weren't giving anything away. But they said the gifts were going to be cat-like, gifts that cats would bring you. And in real life, I mean, there's plenty of stories about cats bringing their humans mice as gifts. So I'm wondering if maybe they're going to be adding mice to the game as well. That would be that's speculation on my part, but that's what I'm guessing. I don't know what else cats would bring you as a gift, but maybe they'll be adding mice too. Maybe. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. They said there's going to be 9 different cat skins. One of them will be based on the real-life cat of pictures submitted by the community. I totally think we should make the new cat Jelly. Scar, Good Times with Scar. He has a cat named Jelly. Jelly should be the 9th cat. Let's start the campaign. Hashtag Jelly for Minecraft. Let's do it. But that's about it for cats. Now, I'm interested to see if they give dogs the same overhaul, because I'll be honest, I really don't like cats. I know that's sacrilege and heresy on the internet, but I'm really not a cat person. I love dogs. I hate cats. That's just, it is what it is. So maybe in the future, down the road, maybe not for this update, but maybe in an update in the future, we'll see an overhaul for dogs as well, where they will do more than just follow you around and attack hostile mobs, or, maybe they'll get more skins for dogs, or I don't know. We'll have to see. But I would love to see a dog overhaul. If they're going to give cats an overhaul, I feel like they should give dogs an overhaul as well, in the interest of fairness, because there's plenty of people, it's the age-old debate, cats or dogs. I am firmly on the side of dogs. I want to see a dog update if they're going to do a cat update. Going forward, they mentioned scaffolding. They are going to be adding actual scaffolding to the game. As a builder, this makes me extremely excited. You'll be able to climb it faster than, presumably, than you would. I'm assuming it will be faster than a ladder, maybe, I don't know. But you'll be able to climb it fast, and you'll be able to tear it down very easily. So when you're building these mega structures in survival, it'll be a lot easier to kind of make the scaffolding you need and then tear it down when you're done, which is awesome. Because one of the things that can be really kind of annoying about building giant, massive things in survival, or building in the sky, or anything like that, is just the amount of time you spend making scaffolding and then tearing it down in the end. Like, it just becomes a chore. So I'm super excited about scaffolding. And they said it's going to be added, it's going to be craftable out of bamboo, which kind of leads us into the next thing. So it appears jungles are getting an overhaul in this update. They will now have bamboo in them, and they will also get pandas. I don't know if the pandas are going to be anywhere in the jungle or if they will only be near bamboo. I guess we'll have to find out. But they said pandas will have different personality traits, and they'll eat the bamboo, and then they have cute sounds like sneezes and stuff that are recorded from actual pandas. You will be able to turn them into pets. At least some of them. I don't know. Apparently there was like a red-eye panda, and that one might be a little bit hostile or something. I don't know exactly how that's going to work. But addition of pandas. I hope they serve an actual purpose other than just being your pet. I hope they're more useful than, say, polar bears or something, or llamas or something, because there's a lot of mobs in the game right now that don't really serve a major purpose. I mean, dogs are useful, cats are useful, parrots are arguably maybe kind of useful, but not really. Polar bears are just useless. They don't serve any purpose. And llamas are mostly useless because their ability to haul stuff is greatly outclassed by just an ender chest and a bunch of shulker boxes. So I don't know. Now it's interesting to note that jungles are now going to be, I believe, the biome, with maybe the exception of oceans, that will have the most mob variety, passive mob variety anyway. Because we'll have ocelots, which I'm assuming will be passive. You'll have parrots. And now you're going to have pandas as well. And that's in addition to all the normal stuff, sheep and pigs and blah, blah, blah. So jungles are apparently going to be getting an overhaul as part of this update as well. And I think that's really good. Now, as for the release schedule, they said early next year for full 1.14 release. So 1.14 will come out sometime in early 2019, but that they plan to start snapshots during the holiday season, before Christmas and stuff, and those will be snapshots that have cats, pandas, bamboo, and scaffolding. So we're expecting, I'm assuming snapshots will probably start sometime in like late November, early December, if I had to make a guess. And then I'm guessing probably like a February or March time frame for 1.14 to come out. That would be my guess, but I guess we'll have to see. It doesn't seem like there's a massive amount of content in this update compared to like the update Aquatic, so I'm hoping it doesn't take them until like April or May, because then we're talking over a year, or we're talking basically a year of development for 1.14, and I don't know. I guess we'll have to see how that works, but hopefully we're gonna talk like a January, February 1.4. Words are hard. January, February timeframe for 1.14 release. That's what I'm hoping, but I think realistically it'll probably be February or March. So moving on to the biome vote results. They had a contest on Twitter where basically the community could vote for their favorite biome. There were 3 choices. It was taiga, desert, and savanna, and they all had a variety of different features associated with them. And basically what they said is that the vote was just to see which of those 3 biomes would be updated first. The other 2 will still get updated, but it's not going to be first. First in line will be taiga. And taiga won the vote. Savanna got 2nd place, and desert got 3rd. So I don't know if they will actually update in that order, taiga, savanna, desert, or if desert and savanna will just not follow any particular order. We also don't know when the desert and savanna biomes will be updated. We just know that Taiga won the vote and Taiga will be first. So that is going to add campfires, berries, and foxes to the game. Honestly, the Taiga was the biome that I was least excited for because the idea of getting new tree types from desert or savanna was the most appealing to me as a builder. Anytime you add a new wood to the game, that opens up a million different options for building because it's a material that I use so much. But Taiga won the vote. Now, the voting was done via a poll on Twitter with approximately like 10 to 15 minutes of time for people to respond. And I think that's really not a good way to do it. First of all, not everyone has a Twitter account. Like, I think the fact that you need to have a Twitter account seems silly to me. And then on top of that, you have a situation where you're talking a pretty limited response time. They say on the thing, you know, hey, we're now opening the voting, and the poll opens, and then 15 minutes later they announce the result of the poll. And maybe it's okay, maybe you do it live, maybe you don't, but I think you're not really giving a significant enough chance for the community to respond, if that makes sense. I mean, even in the final poll between Taiga and Savanna, there was only 50,000 people that responded. The first one had about 56,000. The second poll had about 54,000 responses. And when you talk about how Minecraft had 74 million concurrent players, I think in December of last year, that is a very, 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 very small sample size of the community. And I think they could really do a better job with that by just putting the poll on Minecraft.net. Just put it on the Minecraft website. And maybe they leave the poll open from the time they announce Minecon Earth until the time the actual live stream goes up. Yeah, maybe that would be a little bit easier to influence then with, like, I don't know. But either way, I think they should really revisit doing the poll on Twitter. That just seems like a poor way to do it, in my at least from my perspective. So it is what it is. Hopefully they take the feedback and change it next year, because I know I'm not the only person with that minor complaint. So that was about it for the actual announcements. Afterwards, they did have a dev panel, kind of Q&A, and there was a couple sort of really interesting bits from that. Most of it I don't really want to talk about as far as the whole panel. Like, most of it is stuff that I don't think is really relevant to this video. But as far as the Q&A goes, there were two brief mentions. They did say, Dinnerbone said that he wanted to revisit the entire minecart system at some point in the future. They don't know when, but down the road, they want to revisit the entire minecart system, make furnace minecarts useful, basically just overhaul the whole system and maybe even just rebuild it from scratch or something, which I think is really good, because minecarts, in a game called Minecraft, you would expect minecarts to play a far more prominent role than they do now. They are very useful for certain things, especially technical builds, when you're talking like hopper minecarts and stuff like that. But I think they could do a lot more. They could greatly expand the minecart system and do way more with it than they are right now. So I think that's good. There was also a question asked that was, I think, kind of a joke question, or a not very serious question. But the question was, why are there no brown mushrooms when we have red ones? Or actually, I think the question was, are you ever going to add brown mushrooms to the game? Because right now there are mushroom cows and they're all red. There are no brown ones. And they said, yeah, as a result of this question, we're totally going to add them to the game. I don't know if they were actually being serious, but I imagine it would be pretty easy to implement. It would probably just be a reskin of the existing mushroom. And I mean, they already have mobs that are the same mob and look different, like horses, for example. So I imagine it would be fairly easy to implement with the existing systems that they have now, and they wouldn't have to change any behaviors or any of that kind of stuff. So maybe we'll get brown mushrooms. But I think that's about it for Minecon Earth. Most of it was, you know, as I said, there was a lot of kind of fluff there that I didn't really care about, but There were some important announcements to made, and honestly, I'm really excited for some of the updates. Scaffolding especially, I'm really excited for that as a builder. Crossbow's great. New blocks. We've got a villager and village overhaul. We got new hostile mobs and mob behaviors coming to the game. They're completely overhauling villager behaviors and the way that those guys act and those mechanics, trading, all that kind of stuff. I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good update. And then we've got some jungle changes as well. So it does seem like this update is less focused than the update Aquatic, but I think that's fine. Rather than just focusing specifically on the oceans, it looks like they're a little bit kind of all over the place, a little bit of desert. They got the taiga thing going. They've got the villager overhaul, all this different stuff. They're kind of all over the place, but I think that's totally okay. They're taking some features that are very kind of fan requested and making them happen. So I think that is really good, and I hope it's going to be a good year. So if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Leave your comments and thoughts on Minecon Earth 2018 in the comments below. I look forward to reading through them and hearing what you have to say. But other than that, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.